Welcome to the NAIOP Southern Nevada Breakfast Program. I'm Matthew Hoyt, and I have the privilege of serving as your chapter president this year. Good morning to everyone in attendance here at the Orleans and to everyone joining by Zoom. For all of you that are here in the room, you'll find notepads at your tables. Please write down any questions you have during the program, and Dan Tuntland on the Programs Committee will collect them for our Q&A session, which will wrap up our program from 9 o'clock to 9:15. Today we have very special guests in our attendance. I'd like to recognize our elected officials in attendance today. Please stand and be recognized. City of Henderson Councilman Jim Seebach. Thank you, Jim. And City of Henderson Councilwoman Monica Larson. Thank you, Monica. We also want to recognize our UNLV students attending today. If you're a student, please stand and be recognized. Everyone, please take the time to introduce yourself to the students. In the room today, they're wearing a bright green ribbon on their name tag. They are the future of our industry. And also, the Lead Center for Real Estate at UNLV is excited to host their annual Real Estate Career Expo on April 11th. They'd like to maximize opportunities for both students and NAIOP members. If you have interest in participating in the Career Expo this year, please contact Paul Chaffee. Paul. Earlier this month, some of our chapter leaders went to Washington, D.C. for NAIOP's annual chapter leadership and legislative retreat, bringing together leaders from 52 chapters in North America. The retreat provides opportunities to learn from our peers across the country and meet with our federal delegation on Capitol Hill. At the retreat, NAIOP honored 9 chapters and 6 individuals as part of the annual Chapter Merit Awards during the program. The awards recognize the achievements and efforts of our chapters and individual chapter leaders, including success in legislative affairs. Recipients are selected by a committee of their peers and comprised of volunteer judges. We have been an awards-winning chapter since 1993, and I'm excited to announce that this year we won Chapter of the Year, large chapter, for the 3rd year in a row in 4 out of the last 5 years. As you all know, it's no surprise to me that we are the best. Let's hear a big round of applause. This year we have 5 platinum sponsors. Thank you to each one. City of North Las Vegas, a new platinum sponsor this year. Cox Business has supported our chapter for 21 years. Gatsky Commercial since 2022. Martin Harris Construction since 2001. And Schnitzer Properties since 2000. We also want to thank our 8 gold sponsors: Burke Construction Group, EBS Realty Partners, Heller Companies LLC, Howard Hughes, Kimley Horn and Associates, Majestic Realty Company, Prologis, and the Southern Nevada Water Authority. Thank you to our gold sponsors. We'd also please check out the screen as we recognize our silver sponsors, our bronze sponsors, and our copper level sponsors. I'm happy to report that support from our President's Circle sponsors has reached an all-time high in 2025. With exposure to nearly 800 members, there's never been a better time to be a President's Circle sponsor. Our events are garnering record attendance, including last month, which I'm happy to report was our most well-attended breakfast program ever. There are nearly 270 of us in the room today. If you're interested in becoming a 2025 President's Circle sponsor, please stop by the registration table for a package or talk to me, Lisa Brady, at Prologis, Katrina, or Jonna. And now it's time for our committees. Can I have our committee announcers to the microphone?
All right. Good morning, everyone. Morgan Elson with Colliers. I'm on the bus tour committee. 2025 stay-in-place bus tour will be held here at the Orleans. It's going to be November 13th. We're going to run through a bunch of different current commercial real estate market information. It'll be very insightful, so make sure you keep an eye out for all the additional details on that. We've kicked off our committee meetings this week. We're always looking to expand our committee, so if there is interest, let Jonna Savage, Tice O'Neill, or myself know. We'd love to have you on board. Thanks.
Good morning, I'm Miles Johnson with MDL Group. I'm on the Dolly Committee, and we are coming to an end of our application season for the 2025 Dolly class. Dolly, for those who are not aware, is the Developing Organizational Leadership Institute. A great program. I was in it last year, and some of the things I want to debunk is that there is no age limit. You can be young, old, just a member of NAIOP, Southern Nevada, to participate. So encourage everyone to apply, and it is very different than DLI, separate program. The program fee is $500, and the class meets 8 times from March to May for 3-hour sessions. So it's not a huge commitment. I highly recommend you attend and make it a priority. The deadline for applications is next Monday, February 24th.
Morning, everybody. Mike Goodwin with Schinzer Properties here on behalf of the Education Committee. We've got another great workshop coming up on March 14th. This one is Green Light to Growth, partnering with North Las Vegas for self-certification. It's going to be a great program. We've got Valerie from the City of North Las Vegas, Chris Teachman with Leasing, and DLI's own Gotham with Martin Harris going to be moderating that one. So come find out how you can take advantage of partnering with the City of North Las Vegas to get your permits done in as little as 4 days. It's going to be great. Informative session. Again, this is for members only on March 14th at the Las Vegas Realtors Association building. Thanks so much.
Let's talk about something that's fun, the golf committee. My name's Philip Dunning with Panetone Development, and we're planning our 33rd annual golf tournament, which is Friday, May 16th at Las Vegas Paiute. We have several sponsorship opportunities still available. We're looking for raffle prizes and volunteers. Volunteers are required to be members. Due to the high demand, teams are limited to just one, or sponsors are limited to just one team for our sponsors. And if you're interested in sponsoring, talk to me or Jonna, and we'll release the last few teams to the membership soon. Randomly, we'll release an email, so look out for your emails. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Gaetana Cafasa with Burke Construction here on behalf of the Spotlight Awards. We are just about a week out. This year's theme is NAIOP Nights. So think, tropical flair in the desert air. It's Saturday, March 1st at Red Rock Casino. We do not have an after-party sponsor this year, but we do have seats and tables still available. So you have until tomorrow to sign up. So we hope to see you there. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Ellie Solomon with Eagle One Construction, here on behalf of Community Service Committee. Very thrilled to kick off the year with the first membership event, Paper Goods Drive, benefiting Helping Hands of Vegas Valley and senior citizens of our community. I'm very honored to introduce Susan Conkaby. She'll tell you what your generous contributions will do and how they're going to support people who need them the most.
Thank you for welcoming me here. We've been partnering with NAIOP for quite a few years and volunteer on the volunteer side. Helping Hands of Vegas Valley, we're there to empower the older generation to live dignified lives. And as we do that, we supply certain services for them. One of our services is a marketplace where they can come and pick up very much needed food, but also paper goods. And our paper goods is so important. When I first started at Helping Hands 7 years ago, I was working in the marketplace, and that's when I really realized how important these paper goods are to our seniors. They would come, and some don't even grab the food. They just come for the paper goods because of the cost of paper goods. They look at it almost as something like gold to them. We have some that will take their paper goods home, and if it's a two-ply toilet paper, they will separate that toilet paper to make 2 rolls instead of 1 because they need it. I just learned recently that SNAP benefits, which a lot of our clients are on, do not provide paper goods. That is not something that they can buy or get with their SNAP benefits. And so this is so impactful for us to receive this donation from you. And we so appreciate NAIOP and all that they do for us. Thank you.
There's a table set up at the end of the room that will have flyer with the QR code for the donation item and drop-off location, and we're looking forward to making a great impact and in life of those senior citizens.
Wow, I don't want to follow that. I just want to go buy some Charmin. My name's Art Green. I'm with Geotechnical Environmental Services. Pitchers and catchers have reported pretty soon the cactus and grapefruit leagues will be in full swing. And I can tell by all the sound of what I'm saying in the room that you guys care about that about as much as I do. But how it pertains to all of you is we have our aviators mixer coming up in April. All right, and this is a wonderful time to get your name in front of everybody because while last week's networking event was members only, our baseball networking event is open to everybody to attend. But it's only open to members to sponsor. And sponsorships, I don't want to say are cheap, but if your marketing department's a little bit frugal, you should come talk to me at the end of the breakfast because it's cheap, all right? And you can only sponsor if you're a member. So there's 2 reasons to talk to me at the end of, at the end of breakfast. 1, to become a sponsor for the Aviators Mixer, and 2, to become a member so you can become a sponsor. Art Green, Geotechnical Services. Back to you, Matt.
Thanks, Art. And if you buy some Charmin, make sure you buy some extra to donate. Each month, we like to recognize our new members. If you're a new member, please stand and welcome to NAIOP. Everyone, if you see a red ribbon on name tags, please be sure to welcome our new members. NAIOP Southern Nevada is currently 771 members strong and ranks in the top 10 for our NAIOP chapters nationally. If you're not a NAIOP member, you need to be. Though we're top 10 in quality, in quantity, we're absolutely number 1 in quality. This is your invitation to join us. There are a few ways. You can stop by the registration table at the front. You can visit our website and join online. You can call the NAIOP office, or you can reach out to anybody with a membership committee ribbon on their name tag today. We'd also like to thank our 2025 breakfast meeting sponsors, American Nevada Realty, Carpenter Sellers Delgado Architects, City of North Las Vegas, Cox Business, Martin Harris Construction, NV Energy, Panatone Development, Schnitzer Properties, Southern Nevada Water Authority, the Whiting Turner Contracting Company, and our Wi-Fi sponsor, Gatsky Commercial. And a special thank you to this morning's meeting sponsor, City of North Las Vegas, who is also a platinum sponsor this year. I'd like to introduce Jared Luke, the Senior Director of Economic Development and Government Affairs. Jared, welcome to the stage.
Thanks. Good morning. Yeah, I'm with the City of North Las Vegas, where I guess last month's breakfast meeting was announced that we no longer allow car washes nor storage facilities. So if you missed out on that boat, I apologize. It's weird because I usually approve that stuff, so it's news to me. I want to say thanks to NAIOP. This is huge. I heard some rumbling in the background that, wow, North Las Vegas is a sponsor of this. I didn't think they had any money. Also true. So I want you guys to talk to Cass Palmer. He's here. He'll take all your money for things that the mayor needs to be doing. But the reality is there is some truth to that comment, and that's kind of why North Las Vegas wanted to sponsor and wanted to have a minute or two of your attention this morning. it hasn't been very long, 10 years or so, North Las Vegas was in fiscal receivership. We were a valuation about $3 billion. I know that sounds like a lot of money, but when you're a city, you're trying to rub two nickels together. We were trying to figure out how to cash people out in their retirement. We didn't have anything. We were $156 million in structural deficit, and our bond rating was junk. Fast forward to where we're at now, because of the majority of you in this room, have been huge partners in the renaissance, if you will, of North Las Vegas. The city's valuation, taxable assets now is nearing $14 billion. Thank you. Our bond rating is investment grade. In fact, Moody's told us that it was categorically and politically unattainable to turn the city around, and we did it. Now, I could sit here and take credit for it. I can't. But one of the biggest things that we did in North Las Vegas is we said, if we are going to fix this, we have to run a city like a business, and we have to run at the speed of business. And some of you who have invested, some of you who have developed, and some of you who have taken a chance in North Las Vegas know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, there were a lot of us in this room that suffer from a syndrome that I'm told happens, it's okay because it happens often, and it's called premature land sale, where maybe we had some dirt in Apex, maybe we had some dirt in North Las Vegas, and we thought this is going nowhere, so I'm going to bounce out at 25 cents a foot, when Apex is now trading at anywhere from $10 to $17 a foot. So we are now a primary market. We're no longer a tertiary market. North Las Vegas is on the map, and I could not have been up here saying this without the majority of you. You guys are what has really partnered with the city, taken a chance, maybe believed on what we were saying, that no, come on in. We've got this area up in Apex that's got a mining permit on it, and people are blowing up mountains and stealing aggregate, but it can be an industrial park, okay? We've got projects, and I can't go into detail. I'm like the one that gets up here and shows a little leg and then tells you what my room number is and hopes that you follow me. So I can only tease because on March 27th, if you look at your table, you've got a little QR code. If you bump into that QR code, it'll tell you that the State of the City address is March 27th. And if I steal all of Mayor's thunder now, I hope one of you guys will give me a job. So we've got billions of dollars with a B of development projects that are all coming up out of the ground in North Las Vegas simultaneously. We are redeveloping our downtown. Those of you who've been here a minute know that nothing, absolutely nothing except for fires have started on that island piece at Lake Mead Boulevard right off of the 15. If you drive by there now, you will see sticks come up out of the ground. That is a huge redevelopment project that will turn North Las Vegas' downtown into an actual walkable downtown. We've got the High-Low Park. Some of you may have seen the clippings of the ground break that just happened there. We've got the medical campus and the job creation zone adjacent to the VA. We've got Apex that is still killing it. And then we've got 5,500 acres in conjunction with UNLV that we're working on a master plan there. There is a ton of development, a ton of growth, and if you look at any of the schematics or plans or Southern Nevada Strong, you talk to any of the smart people at UNLV, they'll tell you that the future of growth by 2050 is all in North Las Vegas. So again, thank you. And real quick before this wouldn't have happened. You guys know Dan. I'm excited for the panel today. I don't think he's ever put together a bad panel, but Dan Tuntlin, while he's been a good friend to me, he is the reason North Las Vegas is here. He's the reason that we paid for this, so please develop so I can put that money back into the general fund. But Dan Tuntlin has been the best ambassador for NAIOP. So when you guys win awards year after year after year, I hope you guys are giving Dan a big high five, because North Las Vegas would not be as involved in NAIOP as we are now if it wasn't for Dan's persistent phone calls and invitations to lunch. So thank you, Dan. Thank you, NAIOP, and we appreciate it.
Thanks again to the City of North Las Vegas for sponsoring today's breakfast program and being a platinum level sponsor. Thank you, Dan. A great segue, because that leads us into our programs committee, which Dan has spearheaded for a while now. The programs committee has been knocking it out of the park with the best programs in the business. So let's segue to today's panel. And one last reminder, you do have notepads at your tables with pens. Write down questions for a Q&A session from 9 o'clock to 9:15. I'm excited for our program today, Strip Hospitality, What Makes a Winning Hand? And I have the pleasure of introducing you to today's moderator, Deana Marcello. Deana is a third-generation real estate professional and a recognized leader in the commercial real estate industry. She serves as Executive Vice President at Colliers, where she specializes in investment and owner-user sales, as well as representation for national retail tenants and institutional landlords. She also leads the High Street Retail Leasing initiatives for our premier Las Vegas Strip properties, which makes her the perfect choice to moderate today's discussion. Deana is a 27-year resident of Las Vegas and proudly followed her father's footsteps by developing a passion for real estate. Deana has also worn many hats in NAIOP Southern Nevada. She's a past DLI graduate, past DLI committee chair, past bus tour committee member and tour guide, and is active on our programs committee this year. If you've had the privilege of working with her, you know she's an absolute rock star and one of the very best in our industry. Welcome to the stage, Deana.
Is this thing on? Okay, it is. Good. Well, thank you for having me. Yes, I'm involved in NAIOP, and NAIOP is such a great networking, and it's so great to see so many colleagues here, so thank you for coming. I do want to give a quick shout out to our programs committee. So in addition to Dan Tutland, a shout out to Sabrina Borgoff with Martin Harris. She's our committee chair. And also a special thank you to Todd Manning with NAI, who helped me coordinate the speakers for this panel. So takes a group of people to make these things happen, and so excited to be here. So I know you guys are all excited and energized. I know I am. The Strip is such a vibrant and exciting place. That's why I wore this really bright suit. I think it represents the Strip and also traffic cones, which that really kind of dignifies all of our construction and development. So I feel like I'm nailing that. But one thing that we know is Las Vegas is a 24/7 town. It's a city that never sleeps, and I believe we really took that tagline from New York officially, and I'm pretty confident that we're going to continue to keep it going. We're going to continue with that momentum, and with our panelists today, they also don't get any sleep because I read their biographies and they are impressive. I had to scale them down a little bit because of timing, but I want to start introducing our speakers, starting with Tonia Chafetz, Vice President of Retail and Operations and Leasing with Caesars Entertainment. I'll welcome you to the stage, Tonia. She has over 30 years of experience in retail leasing, marketing, and property management. Her background includes 7-Eleven, Circle K, and PepsiCo, along with leadership positions at the iconic Las Vegas retail destinations such as the Fashion Show Mall, Grand Canal Shops, Tivoli Village, and the Link Promenade. She served as the general manager of the Link Promenade for over a decade, before becoming the Vice President of Leasing and Retail Operations for Caesars in Las Vegas this year. Tonia has led teams responsible for over $290 million in revenue and has successfully opened numerous leased and owned locations. She's married with 2 grown daughters, and she enjoys spending time with her family. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Next is Alex Dixon. Welcome, Alex, to the stage. He is the CEO of Resorts World Las Vegas. He is a Las Vegas native and third-generation casino employee. Alex is a gaming and hospitality leader with over 20 years of experience at multiple properties, including MGM Resorts, Caesars Entertainment, and Goldman Sachs. And prior to his current role, Alex led Q Casino's turnaround, scaled MGM Springfield to a $960 million operation, and led the successful sale of Circus Circus for $825 million. Alex is a Howard University alumni. He co-founded the African Americans in Gaming and serves on industry boards, including the American Gaming Association. Thank you for being here, Alex. And last but certainly not least, Michael Hirschfeld. Michael Hirschfeld, welcome to the stage. He is a vice chairman in JLL's Retail Advisory Service Group. He has over 50 years of experience in real estate. He specializes in high-end retailers, high street, downtown, resort, and dense urban markets worldwide. Michael is a JLL retail MVP and top producer for over 11 years. Michael leads cross-border business development, fosters a global client pipeline across the US, Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. His clients include Amon Essentials, Puig, Carolina Herrera, Aqua Restaurant Group, and with consulting projects in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, and including NEOM. He has been active in Las Vegas for over 30 years, and he has leased nearly 1 million square feet on the Strip and focusing on project consulting and leasing over the past decade. So welcome, Michael. So thank you all for being here, and welcome to today's panel. We're diving into what makes a winning hand in hospitality and development on the Las Vegas Strip. And lucky for you guys, we have a stacked deck with these incredible speakers. I know we have a lot of questions, and we want to get through a lot of this information as quickly as we can, hopefully a little bit faster than it took for the completion of the Fontainebleau. So let's get it moving, and let's get going. Let's get into it. So Las Vegas continues to be a top tourist destination. Last year, we saw nearly 42 million visitors, which is a 2.1% increase from the prior year. And to keep up with that momentum and the constant development, we're seeing a lot of changes continue to happen on the Las Vegas Strip. So we know that the Strip, we like new things. We like change. We like to blow things up, right? So recently, we did the demolition of the Tropicana, which will be replaced by the Las Vegas A's. We took an axe to the volcano at the Mirage, and that's going to be taken over by the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. And so as new projects come in and new developments happen, I'd love to get your perspective on what are the key ingredients to make a successful development on the Las Vegas Strip. And Alex, I'll go ahead and start with you. As the CEO of Resorts World, what do you see as the key ingredients and the drivers to a successful development? And you can speak to Resorts World, maybe some of the key aspects of that, and maybe any challenges that you've been seeing as well.
I see so many Vegas kids who've done well in this room, and so it's good to be back home. Born and raised, third generation here. And so to be able to come back and to be able to lead a property on the Las Vegas Strip is nothing short of amazing. I pinch myself every day I walk in the building. But time will tell about, a driving success of new developments. And so I think some of the ingredients in the past definitely have been, we here within our community do a phenomenal job of really understanding how really a rising tide helps to lift all boats. And so we work together to go get something like Allegiant Stadium in order to build citywides to go out and make sure that we're successful. As a city, we come together. If you think of the creation of NFR, we think of NFR today, but really it was the genesis of a couple of weeks in between, Thanksgiving and New Year's, where we needed some weakness. And so I think what we need to do, not only as individual properties to drive success, is to continue to innovate, to in many ways create new demand, to help fill on whether it's need dates so that we can continue to have this rising tide. So I'm a firm believer, whether it's the north end of the Strip or just Las Vegas broadly, is that we need to make sure that we're continuing to innovate. And this notion of the LVCVA, which is, I think, very unique in that you have the stature of everyone understanding how going to market better with a strong voice helps us to lead those. So I think first and foremost, we have to have a top of the funnel demand drivers to make sure that we're identifying opportunities as we move forward. Then as it relates to specific, let's say, assets, the ingress and egress for any location is vitally important. And so very fortunate, our ownership group, as well as the Boyd, who really helped develop initially that parcel at the Echelon site, did a very good job of making sure that there were multiple points of entry kind of throughout. I think you've got the four corners, as growing up right there, Flamingo and Las Vegas Boulevard. The density there of just the sheer number of hotel rooms creates a lot of foot traffic and footfall. But for us, as the automobile helps to define the outer portions of the northern end of the Strip, we're very fortunate to have a great ingress and egress. Where we've got to pick up is really that pedestrian foot traffic. And so that's where just the coordination with municipalities, in our case, the county, to make sure we're moving forward on the pedestrian bridges that are going to get people to and from. But in many ways, is we have to continue to innovate and activate inside of our building. For a very long time, when demand was outstripping supply, all you had to do was open your doors. And so for a very long time, I remember that number was going from 20 million visitors a year up to 40. And now, by no means are we at a plateau, but if you're already going to be around that 41, 42 million a year, as you introduce new supply, and yes, we're blowing stuff up and taking it out, we've got to make sure that we're finding pockets of opportunity to drive new demand in order to activate spaces, because we have a beautiful property, but the reality is in Las Vegas, a lot of people have nice things. And so just having nice things doesn't make you a winner. And so we're learning and we're working hard. I do not have a magic wand, but we're going to make sure that we're moving forward, turning the page, so that we can welcome people here. And I think if you leave with nothing else, is that I look here in this room, is I need your help. We need your help in order to be able to activate our property, to think about how we're doing business, to make sure that literally the Strip stays connected to our community. We are very fortunate. We just announced Governor Sandoval joined our board. Although we are owned by Ginting out of Malaysia, we're now very much a Las Vegas and a Nevada-based company. And so appreciate everyone in this room helping us to continue to innovate, to do business, to drive it, because that's what it's going to need to, success is going to be both collaboration as well as capital.
Makes sense. And to kind of continue to touch on the northern end of the Strip that you brought up, and hello? I made a joke earlier about the Fontainebleau taking a long time to get open. But the reality is it did take a long time, and that affects the northern end of the Strip. What type of growth do you see happening on the north side of Las Vegas Boulevard? Historically, it feels like almost like an annexed part of the Strip, but it's really started to create this connectivity with Resorts World opening, with Fontainebleau opening. We're hearing rumors, or it's in the media, that Phil Ruffin may want to sell the Circus for $5 billion. Do you see that trade? Do you see that trade happening? And do you think that will help that northern end of the Strip?
Yeah,
What do you think it needs?
So it's still a little sore on the 825 we sold it for and the $5 billion it's on the market for. So won't comment on that front. But more than anything else is we end up saying the north end of the Strip, but the reality is when you drive down, we're across the street from Wynn Las Vegas.
Yes.
So Wynn and Encore they're doing just fine. They're doing just fine. And so I think from a standpoint of, yes, is there a new area of development? But I think more broadly is we as a community, between the Sphere, literally Resorts World Las Vegas, and then the Fontainebleau, going on into the Sahara, there's a significant amount of capital investment that has taken place into our community. And so sometimes I think it's easy to otherize, let's say, groups, but we as a community need $12 billion of capital to be successful. And so I think when you think of it in that light, is you then say, okay, hey, what can we do, not only just to help, but how do we continue to activate and to help incent and further demand? And so I'm grateful because, look, we have 40 acres of undeveloped land at Resorts World Las Vegas, 40 acres, right? We're entitled for 35, we have 3,500 rooms today, but we could build up to 10,000 on our site. I'm here with Jeff Wagner, who leads all of our development, and it's simply amazing the amount of undeveloped space we have, as well as new activation opportunities. And so, you know, I continue to share, like, bet on us, bet on Resorts World, bet on the north end of the Strip, because I think over long periods of time, literally, as we think about the sponsor of tonight's venue is North Las Vegas, right? That's the future area of growth for our community. We all know that we live in a landlocked place where the federal government owns most of it. We're in this disposal boundary. And so these infill opportunities, whether it's on the Strip or whether it's where I'm moving on Martin Luther King in Washington, right there in Bonanza Village, these infill opportunities are what's going to help drive the growth of our community.
Absolutely. What does the timeline look like to develop those 40 acres?
You know, more to come. Maybe I'll be back at another luncheon, but
we hope so.
Yeah, month in, and we're working on it one day at a time.
Okay, that's fair. Switching over to Tonia, what do you think the key factors are and the drivers for successful retail and hospitality development?
Well, I mean, much like Alex mentioned, it's continually changing. It's continually upgrading. I think that you can go to any other city and you can go to the downtown area or a convention area and it looks the same 5 years later. You come to Las Vegas, and honestly, people now expect in Las Vegas that when I come every other year to Las Vegas, I expect a new casino. I expect a new amazing restaurant. I expect a new retail. So we have set these expectations, I think, over the last 20 years, probably, where it's really taken growth. And I think people now expect it, and I think we've raised the bar high, and we need to continue to do that. And I think that they expect to come here and see stores they don't see at home in Oklahoma or Chicago or wherever they may be. They want to go to a restaurant or to a celebrity chef that they see on television that they can't get at home. So I think that's kind of where we're at, is we have set the bar high, and we just have to keep climbing and keep bringing in new things. And you know, even if there is a restaurant here that you might see at home, it's here on steroids, right? It's 5,000 square feet at home, and it's 20,000 square feet here with, you know, holograms. I'm making that up, but expect it. My point of it is, though, is that that's, you know, I think that's where we're at. I do think it's difficult to keep doing that for somebody who's been working on real estate on the Las Vegas Strip for, you know, about 20 years now. But I will give it to Las Vegas. I'm bullish on Las Vegas. We always think, and you remember probably hearing it years ago when Mirage was built, I've been around that long, that, oh, there's too many hotel rooms. We're not going to be able to fill all these hotel rooms. There's too many restaurants. We're not going to be able to fill all these restaurants. And we continue to do it. So I think basically trudging forward the way that we have been, raising the bar, and always looking, I think now more so than we ever did, at outer markets. I constantly am hearing from people from Singapore, from Europe, from, you know, from Dubai, right, from all over the place. I think we've become more global over the years. We have visitors from other places, and I think that now I'm always I talk, I think, to as many people who are from out of the country as I do that are in the country, who are looking to bring new things to Las Vegas. So we do have that opportunity. The good news is, and I think I've seen this change over the years as well, it used to always be if new concepts were coming from outside of Las Vegas or outside of the country, there was New York, Chicago, LA. There was a small list of like 5 or 6 cities, and I would be trying to get these people, and they'd say, well, Vegas is on our next tier. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's the case anymore. Now, usually I hear, we want to open in Vegas, we want to open in New York. So I think that we've made a lot of inbounds there, but that's kind of what I see. Just keep climbing, keep changing, and keep bringing things in that's the next thing.
That makes sense. And Michael, I want you to answer this original question, but since she's kind of touching on international demand, you have great experience in this. What type of retailers or hospitality groups, what are you seeing want to come to Las Vegas in this international markets?
Well, we see everybody wants to come to Las Vegas, and we get an awful lot of inquiries that they understand because they see the stats, okay? But then they try to figure out, how do you operate in Las Vegas? And it's completely different. I think we were going back and forth yesterday from the plane that you could probably hold a seminar about how to operate in Las Vegas, and you could probably fill the room, okay? So internationally right now, what we see is the 3 markets that any brand, any tenant coming over, they want to know about Miami, they want to know about New York, and they want to know about Las Vegas. And you no longer hear much discussion about San Francisco, Chicago, Houston, Seattle, which used to be part of the gateway markets. That's not the case right now. You're down to 3 gateway markets. And we have that coming out of Asia-Pac. I know you have clients out of Asia-Pac, and Vegas is a key market. We hear it coming out of the Middle East. Okay? And again, there are so many restaurant concepts that are not yet in Vegas, okay? That, again, if they could figure it out, once they get here and they start looking, one of the things that confuses them is that I think it's 7, 8 months of the year, you effectively have a day and a half of business every day compared to what they're used to. And that changes their operating structure. Okay? And that's part of the stuff that, again, and you've seen it, Deana, I know, they back off, okay? Because they need to, we got to take a step back and figure it out, okay? And it's not a rubber stamp. You can't do the same thing. to the retailers, you can have the same brands on the strip. You look at the project, the Boulevard project, we mainly have brands that everybody's familiar with. The experience in the store is totally different, okay? It's more about the psychographic of the people walking by. I think Alex mentioned about having access. We've got great access. Open the door and walk in the store. Right? It's street retail in its ultimate form, except it's got 35 to 38 million people walking by, which is second busiest street in the country to Times Square. So.
And let's kind of chat about the Boulevard project. So the Boulevard project, I'll have you give the elevator pitch for those who may not know about it, but kind of get into how did you merchandise the project? You've got competition amongst the strip, and how did you want to, differentiate yourself in your development, and how did you kind of work through that merchandising plan for the success of a new retail development on the strip?
Okay. We have a great project starts with a great client, and I don't need to blow smoke at Eli Gindy, but he's a street retail developer who just happened to be a gambler. So he spent a lot of time in Vegas, and he started by acquiring the Showcase properties and the properties south of Boulevard. I turned him down 3 times on handling the leasing. I knew his dad, and that was why he came to me. Finally, and it's a fascinating story, but he had a rabbi come visit me. And I got levered into handling the project. Okay?
Smart.
It all worked out. When I thought we were done, okay, he calls me up one day and he says, I acquired the Smith-Walensky property. Okay? And I said, great. And what had 30,000 feet now has 150,000 feet on it. And then when I thought that was done, he calls me up and he says, I acquired 10.5 acres on the strip. And that's what Boulevard is. But the key thing about it, and I think this is the real essence of the project, from the first charrette with architects and designers, we were in the room. So everything was always about how will you make this work as retail? Right? And from day one, every decision was, how do you make it work for a retailer? Which is why, if you go back of the house, and I know some of the UNLV students are touring the property today, when you see the back of the house, 2 full freight systems. There's a refrigerated trash room for all the restaurants on the roof. People wondered how you're going to get everybody up and down. You'll see it today when we're there. But everything was designed with, it's got to serve retailers. Right? We're at an advantage. I don't want to be in the hotel business. God, that has to be difficult.
It is.
Okay?
It is.
I know. Okay? I've had enough hotel clients that the challenges are so much different. Okay? So when we went out, we also, interestingly enough, the lockdown helped us a little bit. That delay helped. Okay? Because it also had some retailers thinking, I don't want all of my shops inside. Naive, if you look back even just 4 years, because they'll go back inside, given the right project. But at the time, a lot of interest came our way, okay, that people wanted to look at alternatives, and then looking at the strip, looking at what they get from us, okay? Their storefronts are 55 feet high. That's a 5-story building, okay? That's a billboard, okay? In Times Square, you're going to pay $5 million for that billboard, okay? We don't charge anything for the billboard, okay? Our rent structures are unique on the way we priced it. It's not priced per square foot, okay? It's actually priced per front foot. So a 50-foot wide storefront has a price associated with it. If you don't want the full 200 feet of depth and you want us to cut it off at 150 feet because you don't think you can merchandise it, great, we'll cut it off at 150 feet. Price is exactly the same. Okay, you're buying the frontage. Okay, it was something that I had done once in my career in the early 1980s in Manhattan, downtown Manhattan on Nassau Street, when Wall Street required huge numbers of employees because everything was manual. Okay, it was analog. It was not digital. every day at lunch, millions of people, hundreds of thousands, let's not gild the lily too much, would come out of their offices onto Nassau Street. Okay? And landlords there, they started cutting their storefronts down to 6 or 7 feet, okay, and charging per front foot. Okay? Didn't matter what the depth was. Okay? It seemed like a market you could do that in. We put it out there, and I know how tenants think, so they're getting 2 floors, okay, 10,000 feet each, 50-foot front. They do the math based upon 20,000 feet, and they go, wow, that's $3 million, $20,150 a foot. It's a great deal. They get 35 million people. Times Square gets 100. They pay 150 a foot blended, and Times Square will cost you 1,500 a foot blended.
So speaking of the tenants at Boulevard, there's been some AI images of this 5-story in and out all over social media. And I know that's not the case, but can you speak to any tenants that aren't necessarily advertised on the outside of the building that are coming, or anything exciting that you can share?
I'm sorry, I didn't get your NDA over there. and all the NDAs for the room. So we have 2 major announcements that should be forthcoming, I hope in the next 30 days. Some people in this room know what it is. One is a major media commitment, and it's a 3-floor, 70,000 square foot commitment. Ground second, they're building a mezzanine, and then a rooftop is entirely food and beverage, and they're actually doing a 17,000 foot food and beverage installation on the roof. But I can't, sorry.
Nope.
No.
That was just a test.
Yeah,
Just wanted to see. So let's go back to you, Alex, and let's talk about gaming trends. What are you seeing in terms of who's still gambling? And I know it's a lot of people. And what does that demographic look like? And is the younger gambler versus the older different? Is it increasing? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going to take that in a different way of less just of what gambling, let's say, trends or where I think it needs to go.
Okay.
And so, because I think this is an area where, again, when you have more demand than supply, again, you open your doors. And so every one of our slot floors looks very similar, with very similar types of games. You know, we may price them differently. You know, if you're on strip, off strip. You know, I've operated in jurisdictions in Maryland, Massachusetts, here. You know, the whole deal. There's not enough differentiation. If you think of a slot floor like your high school cafeteria, you know, in high school, and I went to Durango, 5 minutes from here. And you had the jocks, the geeks, the freaks, the nerds, the black guys, the Latinos. You had all these other different kind of components. Is that I believe that let's say the game manufacturers are building for let's say the Dungeons and Dragons, or just like a limited set of people at those different tables. And so I think we can open the aperture of the types of themes that we have on our core products. And so they're very much, you know, you go on the floor and they're you know, the products are, you know, some are great, some we're able to leverage pop culture. But if you think about, I was just up at the NBA All-Star kind of weekend, and I mean, these guys, these athletes, women, men, any sport, you know, they promote everything else but our core gaming products. Like, you know, if you think of major movie themes, sometimes they'll, let's say, get launched. But, you know, a long time ago, I was at Goldman Sachs. We were advising Disney when they bought Pixar. And one of the things that Disney did when they looked at of acquiring that business, that new content, was to say, if we get this new content, we can put it into our retail stores, we can put it into our theme parks, we can put it into our restaurants, we can license, we can do all these things. But we don't necessarily do that in the gaming business on the slot floor. Or even in the gaming areas. And so what I believe, particularly whether it's NIL with these sports conferences that need to be finding new ways to make money, is I believe we need to take pop culture IP and figure out how to get it onto the slot floor so that we are a part of that wave of when you have a big launch, it naturally comes here. Because the cycle to take a new concept and get it on the floor is entirely too long. And so we can either do that through the actual game theme, but I also think there's an opportunity to do it through merchandising that doesn't necessarily change the game, but moving forward. Because again, we, 4 years ago, we would have been talking about, iGaming and sports betting and all these other different components. And so I'm here today because our integrated resort is a function of real estate, right? iGaming, they're not here because they're not a function of real estate. We are. So we have to innovate to figure out how do people stay off the phone, or if they're on the phone, they come and physically meet someone, because our slot floor is one of the only places in American life where people from every range of the economic spectrum can come and be welcomed. Because you don't have to walk into a bank, you don't have to get groceries, you don't have to go into physical places to do a lot of things. But as long as Las Vegas is culturally relevant for people to come, whether it's convene in meetings or go to an actual slot floor, our best days are ahead. But if we stop innovating and are no longer culturally relevant on that floor, we got big problems. Because with every ounce of casino comes a pound of real estate. And so we have to focus on that core, and that's what, keeps me up at night, is really about driving that core gaming business in the physical nature.
And what does the demographic of your customer look like? And this is kind of a question for the whole panel of who's coming to Vegas now. I feel like it's gotten expensive.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer the cheap, quick getaway, $2.99 shrimp cocktail situation. So, what does that look like for Vegas now? Are we high end, you're going to spend a lot of money, or can we do both? What does that look like for our demographic and that customer?
Yeah, I'll take a stab at that and definitely want to hear. One thing I think it's important to realize is that Vegas now is where American business is done, period. And so if you think of that, is that we appeal to, the Fortune, not only 500, but if you think of the Russell 1000, whatever it may be, all of these companies with extreme, whether it's research and development or projects or development, come here at one point in time. And so you have these points of compression, whether it be CES, ICSC, or any number of different components, that if you don't price yourself so that you can literally achieve that spike of what they're willing to pay when there's compression, you are leaving money on the table. The reality, though, is that, look, we know that there's not a CES every day of the week. So then, the next day when they're out, we have to go back and sell our banquets at a normal price, right? Or think about, hey, we're not going to be able to do that, have that offering, because guess what? We were able to sell it at this point. So I think this notion of dynamic pricing is going to be important in more aspects of our business than just hotel. In the food and beverage space, retail, it's going to be interesting to see how we've already started to see that. Even when I was at Caesars back in the day, you started to see that component.
We are doing it.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear that. I want to hear how that's going.
Yep.
But literally, look, if NVIDIA's in town, right, and then the next week I got a traveling group of young ladies playing volleyball, right, and I offer the same product at the same price, I'm doing a disservice to somebody, right? And so that's the nature of what we do. And so in many ways, you have to retain your ability to be that super high end, because we have the capacity to do it, because we deploy these assets better than anyone else in the world. The hard part is that, look, there's some troughs.
Yep. So it sounds like we have to be nimble. We have to be able to accommodate both.
Yeah.
But Tonia, I'd love for your feedback.
Well, I was, something that on my retail side, putting my retail hat on for a minute and taking my leasing hat off, which I've been doing retail operations now for Caesars for a couple of years as vice president of that. One of the things that when it happened after COVID, we couldn't get product in. So everywhere, if we got product in, we just put it in the stores. So I started walking stores a couple years ago, and whether my store was at Caesars or my store was at Horseshoe, one being an ADR of $150 a night, one being $700, and I had the same product. and I had the same prices. And I was like, this doesn't seem right. What happened? And went to the buyers, and they were basically like, we were just so happy to get product because we were having such a hard time sourcing product that when we got it, we just started doing the, what if it stack it high and watch it fly everywhere? And I was like, yeah, I think we're past it. I don't think it's working anymore. So something over the last 2 years we've been doing is trying to be what you talked about, a few things. We are doing some dynamic pricing. Shh. So if you are here for CES and it is a convention hotel, we have figured out that you are putting your bottle of water on your company's card. You are not looking and saying, I'm not paying $5 for a bottle of, generic water that I'm buying a case for $3.99 at home. You don't care because you're not paying for it. So we do dynamic price on some of our bigger conventions in our retail. We've learned to do that because F&B was doing it. They kind of went off of it a little bit for a while. I think, again, COVID probably took care of some of that. We were just happy to have people. But now with retail, we are doing that. We'll take up vape or cigarettes. We've learned products that you are going to buy because if you're gambling and you're on a hot streak and you want to vape, you're going to walk into the gift shop, and yes, you may be able to get that Geek Bar, or I don't vape, whatever they call them, for don't quote, $12 at home at your local store, and you may be paying $25 or $30 at our gift shop, but you are not leaving and walking. As we know, everything in Vegas seems close till you start walking the strip, and then you'll feel like you're on a hike. You're not leaving. You're paying $25 for the Geek Bar, and you're kind of drunk anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So we have learned to...
Welcome back home.
Yeah. We have learned to take advantage of, not people, but of those situations. But we have also learned, like you said, if 1 week is CES and the next week is a cheerleading conference, those parents are scraping their dollars. And so we are not going to have the same prices. We may lower it a little bit. We may put bundle pricing in place to say, this mom has 4 kids with her. We're going to do a 6-pack of water for maybe almost what we charged at CES for 1 bottle. So we are dynamic pricing, and I've also am working with my buying teams to say the people at Caesars that are buying in the gift shop might want a Travis Matthews polo, and then at the Flamingo they may just want like a Flamingo branded one that is much less money. So we are honing in on not trying to be everything for everyone, and I think the Strip has gotten better at that, of kind of knowing hopefully who they are. And I think that we have high-end properties such as a Wynn, we have mid-tier properties, and we have our low-end properties, and I'm a big believer in know who you are and do it really well, because we can't all be Wynn. And that's okay. But know who you are and do it well and cater to your customer. And whether that's on pricing, whether that's on the product you're offering, whether that's on the gaming that you're offering, know who you are and do it well. And I do think that the demographics in Las Vegas, that's one of the things that make Las Vegas great. You'll go to the airport, you'll see people, the 21-year-old, coming to celebrate their birthday, and they're with their grandparents. And everybody's having fun because there is something for everyone in Las Vegas. It's just knowing who you are, doing it well, and I think in understanding your customer and pricing for that and offering things for that customer of who you want to get.
Thank you. Yes. Michael, what would you say is the demographic draw to the Boulevard or any out of hotel casino type retail? What do you think that shopper looks like? Is that changing? Is it evolving over the years? What do you think?
Well, I think retail always evolves, and I think what the retailers are offering will constantly evolve. And I think one of the reasons that I don't feel we have to be that concerned about sort of anything like dynamic pricing is our retailers are going to change their offering, okay, on a regular basis. You walk into the Puma flagship today, which opened for F1, so it's still very much geared to that. But if you walk into it in 5 months when most of the other retailers are open, you'll see a different offering of product. The retailer has to do that because if you walk into the store and it looks exactly the same as it looked the last time you walked into the store, one of the problems with mall retailing is you're not going to be excited about it, okay? So I don't necessarily love the word experiential, but every one of those stores at Boulevard, the street-facing ones, they're doing something different than they would do if they opened a store at Fashion Show or if they opened a store at Planet Hollywood. It's a different product mix. It's a different staffing. It's a different staffing engagement, what they want their people to do. They're actually, a lot of those brands, while they want to sell, obviously, as much merchandise as they can, if you just experience the Puma store and then you go buy the product back home, wherever you buy Puma, they're perfectly okay with that. Right? It's factored into what the value of that store is. The value of that store is not only the people that walk by, not only the 75 million people that drive by in cars. That's not our stat, that's the city stat, okay? That combined 115 million people, okay, is probably twice the number of people that watched the second half of the Super Bowl. But the ones who started watching, and you can get that on the Strip for $3 million, or you could buy a Super Bowl ad for $8 for 30 seconds. So our mix of tenants keep it fresh. Okay? We only have to maintain it, maintain accessibility, which is sort of the whole setup of the project. Everybody will come to it. So I couldn't tell you the demographic of the people walking into the stores.
It's all across the board.
It's all over the place.
Absolutely. And what would you all say is what would help Las Vegas maintain its high position as a tourist destination internationally? Worldwide. And so I just want to understand, what do you kind of think that needs to happen in Las Vegas? Is it more growth? Is it more development? What do you need to happen to see that growth kind of continue to have a great trajectory?
Between India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan, there are 2 billion people in the world. So again, India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan, there's 2 billion people in the world. If you look at the Asian American Hoteliers Owners Association, or AHOA, they represent probably 1.3% of GDP in the United States because they own half the hotel rooms in the country. You think of the CEOs of Microsoft, NVIDIA, AI. There's a tremendous amount of wealth that's being created within South Asia. And so you think of, there's 160,000 hotel rooms on the Strip. You think about all the restaurants on the Strip. Can we think of any Indian restaurants on the Las Vegas Strip?
Nope.
Right. So as we think about our growth as a Las Vegas, when China was producing the largest amount of wealth, bringing people from the farmlands to the cities, there was no supply, meaning Macau didn't exist. We here in Las Vegas, we studied feng shui. We understood, kind of what food people eat. We understood Mandarin and Cantonese. We did all these things to be able to develop physical assets, physical games, and build a culture and build teams to go after a place in the world that was creating wealth and driving new population. And so that needs to happen again. And there's so many other different pockets. And so we need to not only be the entertainment capital and capital of the world, but we need to be the cultural entertainment capital of the world. And so we can incent new demand by doing what we've already done. I started with, there was 2 weeks of downtime in that December. We tapped into a culture that we all know and are familiar with, and we said, hey, let's bring cowboys here to Las Vegas. And so we developed a product as a city, and we made it a thing. And so for 2 weeks, we all get on our cowboy hats, and we celebrate cowboy culture because it's amazing here. And
Can I see a picture of the cowboy hat?
Oh, believe me, I got one. I was in
And
Iowa.
they spend a lot of money.
They do. They
spend a
do.
lot of
And
money.
so
Well,
they
they
do
have
because for a small period in time, we created compression for a subculture to be the dominant culture.
Mm-hmm.
And so here we welcome that because everyone says, oh yeah, the Cowboys in town, and guess what? There's going to be a new group kind of coming in. And so I think just as a community, we need to be able to say, we help to validate cultures like no one else. If you made it on the Las Vegas Strip, that means you made it in the world, right? And so that happens in business, but from the leisure traveler, whatever this may be, look, I'm not going to dynamic price our way to success. You know, we need to do it because that's what you do to kind of go through. We need to incent new demand, and there's a lot of demand coming out of South Asia that I think we need to tap into.
Great feedback.
The answer to the Indian restaurant question might be announced in the next 30 days.
Problem
I have
solved.
spoken with a lot of Indian restaurants.
From India as part of a larger entertainment concept. So. No.
You guys just signed
I
them on
won't,
your
I
way
won't
out.
reveal it, but I don't need an NDA on this one. So.
That's incredible. Yeah. Tonya? Would you just agree? Or do
Yes,
you have
I
any
think
other
we've said it
feedback?
all, yes.
Okay, so my last question, if you could snap your fingers and change one thing on the Strip, so no barriers, what would it be?
I think I've said it before, and I don't want to discount what's happened. I do believe that for those of us that have been around a long time, I think which all of us have on the Las Vegas Strip, there's been a kind of a big change in, it used to be much more walkable than it is now. I don't think that, people used to sometimes just say, well, I did it. Hey, let's just go down to the Strip. We'll get a bite. We'll walk from casino to casino. You know, the weather's good, and I just don't think that that's happening anymore. Part of it is the way we've built our buildings. We've set them back, right? There's features in front and all those kind of things. I do believe also, though, and again, I think Metro does an amazing job, and it's a tough job, and I know that all the casinos and the retailers work very closely with them, and we're all very involved. We have meetings and we do a lot, but I think that is something that I don't think the Strip, and you hear it a lot, I read all the Yelps and so on, is that people just aren't feeling, you know, they're not on the Strip enjoying themselves walking. They are getting from A to B. Which makes it a little bit more difficult a lot of times also for retailers or restaurants, especially retailers that the smaller guys who, you know, kind of had those little pockets that are relying on people walking by. So I would like to see, I don't know how we do that. I think that's a much bigger question because it has to do with homelessness, right, which is obviously something we'd all love to solve across the country. And just the street performers, I think we could do a little bit better I know downtown has done some work on that.
We need better performers, or we need
yes.
a better job of managing them?
Maybe that's it. Maybe it's the
okay.
better performers. They are entertaining. I've even had big old fights out in front of some of my properties between showgirls. So I would.
Welcome back home.
Yeah,
It's on TikTok.
But you know, again, I think that that's something that we all, as business owners on the Strip, need to continually keep in mind and work on, along with our local governments and you know, our police force and so on. I just think it's something we have to try to keep in check because we do know that I think Las Vegas has issues with it, not as big as many other cities. I know a lot of cities are struggling with that right now, and I think, again, a lot of that happened after COVID. I wish I had the answer and I had a magic wand, but I'm honestly answering, if you gave me a magic wand and I could fix it, that's one of the things that I think I would fix. And I think that a lot of people would welcome back the idea of feeling safe and comfortable and having some time to be able to walk on the Strip and enjoy multiple properties.
Alex?
I'll be brief on this one. Subterranean transportation modes just to be able to get in the resort corridor. I mean, you should be able to land. Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
from the airport,
You should be able to land at the airport and
Yeah.
get to most of our places. I think just with the technology is just great. Would love to widen I-15 even further, just so that weekend traveler can get here faster.
Build the train.
Yeah, build the train. I know Sarah's working hard
Working
at it.
on it.
Go Asha and the whole team. But yeah, really transportation, just making sure it get easier to get around.
And Michael?
I think you'll see it because I know, I think every probably hotel owner that has strip-facing property that is overlooking a fountain or overlooking some other feature, they're investigating how do I monetize that. And that's what is going to make the Strip more walkable because you'll have more things that you'll be exposed to. And they're, I mean, again, Deana and I were going back and forth about this. We believe there's probably 300,000 or 400,000 square feet of unsatisfied retail demand for Strip-facing properties. And I think that as that happens, okay, and they're not going to all look like Boulevard. They're all going to be unique, and people are going to come up with amazing designs. But I do think they're going to become a streetscape, okay? And maybe the fountains and the water features are going to be more internalized for the hotel guests than about let's gather at 7 o'clock to watch the fountains. Right? So I think that is what you'll probably see. It's going to take a while, but it's probably in the next 5 to 10 years.
Great feedback. We have some questions?
Yes, we have a couple. Thank you very much. Michael, we had Bugsy Siegel and Mo Dalitz. They were Jewish mobsters, not rabbis, but we do get the concept here. It could be for Alex. It could be for any of you. What do you think Boring's going to do for Las Vegas Boulevard?
The boring tunnels?
Yes.
Look, we're hoping we get this loop finished. I think it's going to.
And you have one right now.
Yeah, it's going to be tremendous. But just think of the goods and services and people that can be moved once you have multiple connection points. But no, I think it's amazing technology, and we've got to see this come online faster in order for us to activate our community to get to that next plateau.
Alex, you got another question. We're all gamblers at heart, real estate people. When is 3-2 blackjack and single zero roulette coming back?
Jeez.
Oh, wow. That's pretty specific.
Very specific.
Very specific.
Yes. Yes.
We have a gambler.
Come see us Friday night, and I'll let you know.
If you have any more, you want to finish this out, it'd be great.
Crystal ball, give it to us. Where do you see us in the next 5 years? 10 years?
I'm sorry,
Crystal ball.
What's your crystal ball
I'll
say?
leave it to you.
crystal ball for 5 or 10 years. I think you're going to see some major entertainment venues that are definitely tech-centric. They're in the market now. I think you're going to see a few very, very large concepts that are going to require 20 to 30 acres. If you want to talk about some of your dirt, we have someone to talk about, right? That will, again, continue to reinforce the global nature of Vegas, because they're global draws. They're not just domestic draws. They're not just bring your family kind of draws. They're the types of things that, right now, you could build them in Saudi Arabia because the PIF would fund it, okay? That's not where it has to be, because that's a very limited way to do it. You're going to see it in a market like Vegas, and it is going to be, I think, part of the next 2 cycles.
Las Vegas will be the longevity capital of the world. We will help people live longer, healthier lives, and we'll develop an ecosystem much like Miami has done crypto, or San Francisco has done AI or technology. You'll see this flourish over the coming years.
Yeah, I think you're going to see continued investment in Las Vegas from all over. I think you're going to see the current players continue to invest more capital. I know that Caesars has spent a ton of capital over the last few years. I think you're going to continue to see first to market in the country, as we talked about before, things from Asia, things again from Europe. I think you're going to see the best restaurants, the best retail, the best entertainment, and the newest. I just don't think it's going to end. We're good at what we do in Las Vegas with that, and I think you're going to continue to quite honestly see it, and we're going to just continue to innovate.
That's great. Well, if you weren't bullish on Las Vegas already, you should be. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the panel, and thank you to our panelists so much for being here and for all your information and knowledge.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to our speakers, to our meeting sponsor, City of North Las Vegas. Thank you guys so much for coming today and attending our meeting in person, and thank you to those watching via Zoom. I hope to see you all at the Spotlight Awards March 1st. Get your outfits ready. And again here March 20th for our next breakfast program. Thank you.